Good evening, and welcome to Nurses Inc.'s 10th annual Go Red Heart Health Enrichment 101 in 2021. No, we are not at the Cunningham Center with the dynamic Red Dress Coalition this year, but yes, we are indeed excited to come to you virtually in the age of this coronavirus pandemic. As we bring to a close National Heart Health Awareness Month, we continue to proclaim that prudent heart living is a way of life 365 days a year. Please join us for this short course, Heart Health Enrichment 101. Dr. Raquel Bennett Giddens will outline some basic essential facts of heart disease. Rhea Bentley will warm our spirits with a heart-healthy dessert. Mike of Total Fit Lifestyle and Eileen, Nurses Inc., will encourage us to move. Circumstances in 2020 have been challenging as well as devastating. We've lost more than 500,000 souls. However, prayer, science, and therapeutics are changing the outcome of this deadly disease. So allow us to end this course with a little laughter. Not only is laughter good for the heart, it strengthens your immune system, boosts your moods, diminishes pain, and protects you from the amazing effects of stress. So pull up a chair, hit the like and share buttons, and let the program begin. Heart Health Enrichment 101.
I'm Dr. Raquel Bennett Giddens, and I'm happy to do a small presentation for Nurses Inc. I thank you for the invitation to present, and really just a little tips and tricks as to heart disease, what to look out for, how to avoid heart disease, how to keep a healthy heart, and more importantly, how to love your heart so that you could be there for loved ones over a very long time span. So I believe this talk is being given during this important week. As we know, February is Heart Month, and February 5th this year has been designated Go Red for Women Day. So it's a day and a week where we try to promote heart disease, to bring awareness to heart disease, to reduce the number of people affected and the number of people dying from this condition, which is still the number one killer for women in the United States and most of the Western world. So I prepared some slides really just to go over risk factors, to let people know what to look out for, how to control your numbers, what to do to really beat this condition and not to become a victim of it. Heart disease statistics. Heart disease is the number one killer, like I said. It basically is 1 in 3 deaths for women is attributed to cardiovascular disease. And in the African American population, heart disease is responsible for killing over 48,000 people annually. Um, I have a map that I like to show with regards to the prevalence of heart disease across the United States, and I hope that you can see this when you're looking at these slides. But it shows the density of heart disease, and it shows the how in the southern zones, in the south part of the United States, the Georgia, Alabama, Louisiana area, how densely populated heart disease is, and whether it's due to dietary factors, whether it's due to cultural factors or lack of exercise, it is a huge problem. And the CDC, Centers for Disease Control, brings out these slides every year, every 2 years, to really just demonstrate how much of a problem it is across various states in the country. And we can see close to home how bad this problem really is. The next slide really shows that heart disease increases with age. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone. In the younger age groups, heart disease is more prevalent in males. But as we get to the middle age group, in the 50 to 60 year time span, 50 to 60 year age group, sorry, we can see that females take over and females become more at risk for heart disease. And you may ask, why is that so? That's really because of the hormonal changes that happen at that time in our lives when ladies go through menopause, and they have less of the protection of estrogen. And so we see a significant increase in the prevalence of heart disease at that time. And so it's really a time when ladies have to be aware of their symptoms, aware of their risk factors, speak to their doctors about, how their heart health, and ensure that they don't become a victim of this condition. So perhaps the strongest risk factor for heart disease as we get older is our age, whether we have a family history of heart disease or not. And we'll go into some other risk factors. I'd like to talk about the risk factors that are preventable and the risk factors that we inherit that are not preventable. And in so doing, I mean things like age. As we get older, we have a higher risk of heart disease. That's a non-modifiable risk factor. Gender, we just spoke about gender and heart disease. Genetic factors. We know that in some families, a lot of people are subject to having blocked arteries and, stroke and heart attacks, and that may be just a genetic factor, which we really can't control. We can't control the genes we're born with. And of course, race and ethnicity. We know African American population, the prevalence of heart disease exceeds that of the Caucasian population. And so it's generally a non-modifiable risk factor. Now, what are the modifiable risk factors that we can control? These are the ones I want you to pay attention to, because these are the ones that we can really zone in on, make sure that in each of us, these numbers are at goal, and really reduce the risk of heart disease becoming a factor in our lives. So the modifiable risk factors include high blood pressure, smoking, cigarette smoking specifically, diabetes mellitus, physical inactivity, obesity, and also high cholesterol levels or high lipid levels. Those are things that we all need to work on. We spoke about race. Race is a big factor. We know in the African American population, there's a higher incidence of obesity, and about 82% of African American females run in the overweight to obese category. 46% of African American ladies tend to have high blood pressure. 36% tend to be physically inactive, and about 13.6% of African American ladies have diabetes. So by just having those risk factors, that puts us at higher risk of having or acquiring heart disease. And so we definitely want to know where we fit in that algorithm and how those risk factors apply to us. And so because of that, the American Heart Association came up with the algorithm or the mnemonic, the ABCs or ABCDs of heart disease. A being appropriate use of aspirin, B being blood pressure control, so know your blood pressure level, C cholesterol management, D diabetes, whether you're diabetic or not. And S, they added on an S, would be smoking cessation. If you're a smoker, you're like 7 times risk higher of acquiring heart disease. And that's one thing you really, despite how hard it is to quit or reduce your smoking, you know, how many cigarettes or cigars you smoke, is something that we each need to work on, because it's only adding toxins to our body. So that's something that I don't want you to overlook. So blood pressure, what is a normal blood pressure? This is something we all know. The guidelines over the years have become stricter and stricter as to what a normal blood pressure is. The latest guidelines, a blood pressure of less than 120 systolic, being the top number of that blood pressure, is what is accepted as normal. That is less than or equal to 120. If that blood pressure, that top number, is between 120 and 129, you already have an elevated blood pressure. And stage 1 blood pressure is when the systolic blood pressure is over 130. That number used to be 140, but we realized the higher we allow that number to be, the more, you know, the more problems we end up in 10 years down the line with kidney disease and heart disease. And so the numbers have been lowered recently, and we all need to aim to get to those goals.
Hi, today we're going to be making fudgy cream cheese brownies. So often when we're trying to cut back on fat and watch our nutrition, we think we can't have sweet foods. But today I'm going to teach you how to make a treat that's sweet and delicious. So let's make sure we have all of our ingredients first. We have some blended Splenda. This is actually granulated, so we're going to use this in our frosting, in our cream cheese, excuse me. We have cream cheese, we have cocoa, we have vanilla, we have Pam, we have 1% milk, we have 1 egg and 1 egg white, and we have 8 tablespoons of light margarine. So you heard me say light margarine, not regular margarine. And then we have a fourth a cup of flour. So let's get started. So first off, what we're going to do is we're going to take our sugar, we're going to cream our butter and our sugar. And this is just regular granulated sugar. We're using 3/4 of a cup. So we just mix this well. Make sure your butter softens. So we're creaming this. You don't have to cream it on a high speed. Alright, so next we're going to add our 1 egg and our half a egg white. Our 1 egg and our 1 egg white, excuse me. Half an egg. Anyway, so here we go. So we mix this really well. Then we gradually add our flour. We keep mixing. We're going to mix our flour in well. So I'm going to stop it here, and now I'm going to measure our cocoa. So we need a fourth of a cup of unsweetened cocoa. I just have Hershey's. This is a 1/4 of a cup measure. Alright, so we have our cocoa all over me too. Anyway, we're going to sprinkle that in there, and then we're going to mix it up. As you can see, these are becoming very chocolatey. So therefore we have our mixture. I'm going to get some of it off of the sides so we can mix it a little bit better. And I'm just going to stir it. Getting the cocoa and the excess butter off the sides. And this is pretty much a thick mixture. In this recipe, you can get a little bit of protein, you get some fiber, and of course you get some carbs. We know that comes with any dessert. So our next step here is to spray our pan. I'm using an 8x8. I'm going to spray it with Pam. You want to lightly coat it because you don't want your brownies to stick. So we're going to add the brownie mixture to the pan. And like I said, it's a little thick, but we'll take care of that with the rubber spatula. And if you want more brownies, you can always double this recipe. So as you see, we cut back by using the light margarine and not using as much sugar as a regular brownie recipe would call for. And we use unsweetened cocoa. So we have this here. Next step is we have to make our cream cheese mixture that's going to go inside the brownies. We're going to swirl it on the brownies.
Hey everyone, my name is Mike Haskins. I'm the CEO and founder of Total Fit Lifestyle, where we transform lives on a daily basis. Okay, well today what we're going to do is we're going to do a 10-minute low intensity workout that's designed for all fitness levels. And I want you to hang in there with me, okay? We're going to go through a series of exercises. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start our warm-up. We're going to get some blood flowing. We're going to get some oxygen to the blood. And we're going to get some blood to the muscles. So I just want you to follow my lead today. That's all I want you to do. Okay? So we're going to start out with our hands spread. And we're going to go ahead and rotate. Let's rotate them shoulders. Take your time. Awesome job. We're going to do this for about 30 seconds. If you need to take a break, it's okay. Take your break. Good job. Make sure you inhale through the nose, exhale out the mouth. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Awesome job. Okay. What I want you to do, while we got that momentum going, I want you to jog in place. All right? We're going to stop about 30 seconds, take about a 15-second break, and then we're going to go for another 15 seconds. You ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, and everybody, let's go. You got to get 30 seconds of this. I want you to go at your pace, not mine. Go at your pace. Awesome job. Make sure you're inhaling and exhaling. We just want to get you loose, get you warmed up a little bit. We got about another 15 seconds of this. Let's count it down. 14 and 13 and 12 and 11. Good job. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Awesome job. Okay, get yourself some water. Keep some water near you. You want to stay hydrated through this routine, okay? Go and get you some water again. Make sure we're breathing. All right? In about 5 seconds, we're going to go, so get prepared. 5, 4. We're going into a squat. 3, 2. If you need to grab a chair, grab it. And 1. Okay, so if you got a chair, I want you to sit in the chair and come back up. In the chair and come back up. If you don't have a chair, just roll with me. Let's go. 1 and up. 2 and up. 3 and up. Good job. 4 and up. 5 and up. 6 and up. 7 and up. 8 and up. Don't let it defeat you. 9 and up. We're going to 15. 10 and up. Keep moving. Push through the hills. And up. 12 and up. Let's go. 14 and up. Last one. And up. Good job. Come back up. I want to keep you moving. This is called active rest. Alright? We're going to do this for about 10 seconds. 9. Move in place. 8. 7. Good job. 6. 5. 4. Again. Move at your pace. 3, 2, and 1. Okay.
My name is Jacko Davis. I come out of Cairo, Georgia. So small the phone book got one yellow page. When you go down there, you'll see a sign that says, "Welcome to Cairo." You look on the back of that sign, it says same thing. I was on the way over here tonight, the state patrol would put on the lights and I wouldn't stop. So they threw up a roadblock for me. He got there and said, "Mr. Davis, why you didn't stop when I put them lights on?" I said, "Officer, 2 years ago, my wife ran off with the state patrolman, and I thought you were here bringing her back." And then I saw this good-looking lady. I told her, "Honey, you sure look good." She said, "I wish I could say the same thing about you." I said, "All I got to do is tell a lie like I did." She said, "If I was your wife, I'd put poison in your coffee. If I was your husband, honey, I'd sure drink it." One day the preacher came home to eat with us. My mama had chicken and ham and potato salad, collard greens laid out on the table. Reb ate everything on that table and had a stick of butter eating it. He told my mama, said, "Honey, that sure is some good food. So I'm full up to the neck." Mama said, "Reb, I cooked the chocolate cake here, but since you're full up to the neck, you probably don't want none." Reb looked at that cake and said, "I tell you what, I'll put a piece in my neck." Granddaddy and Grandmama sitting on the porch, laughing, rocking. They couldn't hear real well. Granddaddy told Grandmama, said, "Honey, I'm proud of you." Grandmama said, "Huh?" Granddaddy said, "I'm proud of you." Grandmama said, "I'm tired of you too." One day the police pulled the preacher over. He said, "Reverend, I noticed you swerving in that car." I said, "That cup you put in your mouth, Reverend, is that medicine you're drinking?" The preacher said, "No, sir, this is a cup of water." The police said, "Let me smell it." He said, "Now, Rev, this is wine." Rev said, "Jesus done did it again." This guy was the #1 Bible seller in the world. Nobody could beat Willie selling Bibles. Oh, he'd sell 1,000 Bibles a day. But he had one problem. He stuttered kind of bad. So they brought him before the Baptist convention. They said, "Willie, we know you stutter bad, but tell us, how you sell so many Bibles?" Willie said, "I give them a choice. Either they can buy one of these Bibles, or I stand right there and read the whole book to them." One day my brother asked Daddy, said, "Daddy, can I borrow the car tonight?" Daddy said, "Son, before you get this car, it's 3 things you need to do. You need to do better in your grades, you need to read the Bible a little more, and you need to get a haircut, son." He said, "All right." My brother went on, and 6 weeks later, he came back with the report card. He said, "Dad, I'm going to get that car tonight. I got 5 days." Daddy said, "That's great." He said, "Dad, I've been reading the Bible a little more." Daddy said, "Now, son, that's fantastic." My dad said, "But son, you still didn't get a haircut." He said, "Oh, yeah, Dad, I read the Bible. Jesus Christ had long hair." My dad said, "Yeah, and he walked everywhere he went." Fellow asked me today how you make holy water. I said, "Well, that's easy. Just put it on the stove and boil the hell out of it." I went to Denver And we were held up in Denver because the Pope had landed. So this fellow went out to the car. The Pope went out to get a taxi. There were no taxis. And he saw this black guy in the car drunk. The Pope said, "Excuse me, sir. Can you give me a ride across town, Texas? Denver." The fellow told the Pope, said, "Pope, I'm too drunk to drive." Pope said, "You get in the back seat and I'll drive." He got in the back seat and the Pope hit it down the expressway. Police pulled the Pope over. He said, "Pope, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to stop you." He said, "You go on and have a good day." The Pope drove out. The police got on his Mac, said, "Y'all make way a very important person coming through." The guy said, "Is it the mayor?" He said, "No, it's more important than that." He said, "It must be the governor." He said, "It's more important than that." He said, "Is it the president of the United States?" He said, "No, it's way more important than that." The guy said, "Who is it?" He said, "I don't know. But this Negro got the Pope driving for him." This lady went to the pharmacist, and she told the pharmacist, said, "Excuse me, sir, I want you to mix up something to kill my husband." The pharmacist said, "Ma'am, I can't do that. I'll lose my job." So she reached in her purse and got a picture of her husband and the pharmacist's wife and showed him. He said, "Oh, I didn't know you had a prescription for it." My brother went to the police department to get a job. Police said, "I'll interview you one at a time." He said, "Leroy, you come in first." Leroy came in. The chief said, "Leroy, what is 1 and 1?" Leroy said, 11. He said, "Okay." "Leroy, what is 2 and 2?" Leroy said, "That's 22. She said, "Okay, Leroy, who killed Abraham Lincoln?" Leroy said, "Chief, I don't know that." He said, "Leroy, you go find out who killed Abraham Lincoln. You come back and let me know." Leroy was on the way out the door. I said, "Leroy, how did you come out?" He said, "Man, I ain't do too bad. I've been in there 5 minutes. These white folk got me on a murder case already." One day the Lord was going around healing people. He touched this one guy. He said, "Lord, you touched me." Said, "I had appendicitis and I'm healed." The Lord said, "That's good." The Lord touched this other guy. He said, "Lord, you touched me." Said, "I had brucitis, now I'm healed." The Lord said, "That's great." The Lord got ready to touch my brother. My brother said, "Lord, don't touch me. I'm on disability. I don't want none of these checks cut off." We were in the military taking parachute training. And the sergeant said, "Jump out of the airplane, count to 10, pull the ripcord, and the parachute will float you down to safety." This one guy didn't hear the sergeant so well. Besides, he stuttered a little bit. He said, "Sergeant, did you say we were supposed to count to?" The sergeant looked at him and said, "You better count to 1." Three preachers were in Florida. And one of them said, "You know, I got a weakness." They said, "What is it, Reverend?" He said, "I got a weakness. It's liquor. And since I've been out in Florida, I've taken me a drink." "Oh, yeah? Okay, that's the other preacher. What's your confession?" He said, "I got a weakness, too. My weakness is women. Since I've been out here in Florida, I've taken me a couple of women out." He said, "Okay." And the third preacher said, "What is your weakness?" He said, "I ain't tell you." He said, "Come on, Red, what's your weakness?" He said, "My weakness is gossip, and I'm going to tell everything y'all said as soon as I get back to the house." One day the Lord brought all the disciples up to the upper room. He said, "John, did you bring anything to eat?" John said, "Lord, I didn't bring nothing." "How about you, Peter? Did you bring anything?" Peter said, "Lord, I didn't bring nothing to eat." "What about you, David? Did you bring something?" They said, "No, I didn't bring nothing." The Lord said, "Let me tell you something. This is your last supper. I ain't feeding you no more." I heard on the TV today that the 3 wise men rode on a Honda. The Bible said they were all on one accord. Took my lady to see the Atlanta Braves yesterday. Boy, I tell you the truth. We couldn't find our seat. We asked the usher, said, "Excuse me, sir, can you show us our seat?" He said, "Give me your ticket." He looked at the ticket and said, "Okay, follow me, y'all, on section 8. My lady said, "Section 8? How you know so much about my business?" They said, "This coming Sunday morning, all the crackheads going to join the church." They said the choir going to sing, "Jesus is a Rock." And the teacher asked the students to make a sentence out of the word Rotterdam. This one kid said, "We visited the country of Rotterdam." She said, "That's good." She asked the next kid, "You make a sentence out of Rotterdam." The little boy said the beaches in Rotterdam were very beautiful. The teacher said, that's fantastic. So he said, my brother said, son, you make a son out of Rotterdam. My brother Bobby said, teacher, my sister ate my candy last night, and I hope at Rotterdam teach that. 3 questions. The fellow tried to get in heaven, and the Lord said, I'm going to ask you 3 questions. If you answer them, I'll let you in heaven. He said, all right. The Lord said, how many days of the week start with a T? He said, 2. The Lord said, what are those? He said, today and tomorrow. He said, okay. He said, how many seconds in a week? He said, 12. The Lord said, how do you come up with 12? He said, January 2nd, February 2nd, March 2nd, April 2nd. I said, okay. The Lord said, okay, what is God's first name? He said, Andy. The Lord said, how you come up with Andy? He said, Andy walked with me and he talked with me and he tells me I am his own. I passed by Church's Chicken today. They got a sign that says if you buy a 10-piece, you get a free telephone card. I said, you eat that much grease, you're going to need to call somebody. It's been great being with you all tonight. I'm going to leave saying unity is the key to success. Together we stand, divided we fall. Stop going around talking about you having bad luck. Remember, from the day that you were born to the ride in that hearse, things are never so bad that they couldn't be worse. Into your own bag, let everybody mind their own business and right on to the bone. And don't worry about what people say. They're going to talk about you anyway. They talked about the man above. As long as they don't have to pay your bill, don't let it sweat you. And remember, you never know where the Lord is. It could be that person that needs something to eat, or need a little help with the light bill, or need a ride somewhere. You never know how he will appear to you. My friend said his sister died, and excuse me. And his niece said every night in the room, plain as day, she'd see her mother. Even though it was in a coveted place, plain as day, she'd look up, she'd see her mother. There was a lot of mysticism surrounding it. She said one night in her dreams, she finally got up on her nerve to walk up to her mother. She said when she reached up to touch her mother's hand, she said that hand turned into the nail-scarred hand of Jesus. And she heard a voice saying, I've been among you, but you have not recognized me. You never know. Will. Thank you.
Thanks, Jacko. A good laugh is truly good medicine. And thank you also to Dr. Bennett Giddens, Rhea, Mike, and we appreciate tremendously your dedicated participation. And many thanks to all of you who joined us this evening. Nurses Inc. is a grassroots registered nurses organization, and our objectives are to provide community education in identified health disparities and to impact the nursing shortage in Georgia one nurse at a time with the Pauline T. Wright Scholarship Awards annually. You may share in our quest by donations to Nurses Inc., 1061 MLK Boulevard, Columbus, Georgia, 31906. That's Nurses Inc., 1061 MLK Boulevard, Columbus, Georgia, 31906. And you may contact us at nursesincolumbus@gmail.com. Again, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Be heart healthy. Wear your mask. Social distance. Sanitize your hands. And get your vaccine when indicated.